you or a loved one were scarred for life after watching Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, you too deserve compensation. What's up, my channel? It's your friendly neighborhood SassyBlondeWriter coming at you with another writing video. So a couple of weeks ago we talked about Nancy Drew, the queen of cozy mysteries, and we were just talking about the mystery genre as a whole. Now, my first introduction to the mystery genre, and this may be showing my, I guess, generation, my age a little bit, I don't know, was of course Scooby Doo, Where Are You? That is what we are going to be talking about today because Scooby Doo is interesting. I feel like it's kind of a pop culture phenomenon, so I wanted to talk about it. It intrigues me. There's always a new iteration of it happening in the cultural zeitgeist. Scooby Doo, Where Are You? If you're new to this channel, welcome to the SassyBlondeWriting channel. I talk about different things from different types of tropes. The recent topic we've been discussing is mysteries. Scooby Doo, Where Are You? So Scooby Doo is an interesting genre of mystery because it's like an even more sanitized version of cozy mystery, which is an even more sanitized version of the detective novel. There's never any death or really any violence, but there's a lot of atmosphere, which I think is why it's important to talk about when you're studying the genre of mystery. It's also good because if you're especially looking towards writing for younger ages, it's very important kid lit and middle grade as well, because that's generally their main demographic for Scooby-Doo. It originally started in the Saturday morning cartoon block. And because there are so many different versions of Scooby-Doo, and they all focus on the different parts of the Scooby Doo formula so differently, it's really interesting to see which tropes that they play on. So the Scooby Doo formula basically works like this. Fred, Daphne, Velma, and Shaggy, along with their dog Scooby Doo, all arrive via their big van at some location that has something spooky going on. And they meet like 2 to 5 locals with varying degrees of trustworthiness. Some are super trustworthy, some seem a little suspicious, some can't really get a read on. They quickly learn that some type of specter or monster or some type of weird shenanigans have been happening in the area. The teens look for clues and get into trouble while Shaggy and Scooby alternate between cowering, being scared a lot, and eating enormous sandwiches and being bribed with Scooby snacks to do literally anything with anyone. Then of course you have a classic chase scene that happens usually after the halfway point. Usually Velma's the one who starts to put things together. Then a chase scene happens, often initiating with Shaggy and Scooby getting chased, and then they run into the rest of the gang. And then ultimately after their 6th or so run-in with the ghoul, they capture it. Usually Fred is the one who initiates the trap and remove its mask to reveal it's just some person who has some reason to want the locals or owners or sometimes tourists scared off the property. Usually it's because of some buried treasure or lost jewels or just because they want the property. So that's the basic Scooby-Doo formula. And there's actually a lot of different spin-offs of Scooby-Doo. I found that out in the brief research I did for this video. It's crazy. We'll get to that in a second. Generally, they all follow that basic structure. Now for the history of Scooby-Doo. Picture 1969, Warner Brothers Studios. That's when the show first came out. It stuck to the general formula pretty well, and it also stuck with basic gender roles. Velma was the dorky girl with glasses. She was always losing them, and she was the one who found clues. She was a smart one. She was a little dorky looking, so nobody really thought a lot of her. Daphne was always the pretty damsel in distress who got captured most of the time. Fred was the alpha man who found her and would set the traps for the monsters to catch him. And then Shaggy and Scooby just wanted to eat their snacks and have sandwiches. In this iteration from 1969 to 1976, the episodes were really self-contained and the characters were never really nuanced. There wasn't a lot of characterization, and there was never really an explanation on how the teens ended up in these places, or like how old they were, where they were going. They just kind of stumbled into these places and then solved these mysteries for people, and that was the end of that. Then from 1976 to 1987, they started to become more Saturday morning cartoonish, where there were lots of crossovers with other cartoons, and then they focused on the supernatural side of things with some ghosts and ghouls that were real for some reason. So during that period, they kind of lost the plot. I think there was like a Ghoul School thing happening with Shaggy. It was a weird time. It was a weird time. It's kind of like a fever dream. There was a lot of crossovers with the Hanna-Barbera crew and Johnny Bravo. It was a strange time. After that, TV show, movie reboots found their way back to the mysteries. In the 90s and the 2000s, they started making the characters less one-dimensional. So now Daphne wasn't just a pretty girl. She had basically a survival kit in her purse. She had a lot of stuff in her purse, and if they were stranded in the middle of the desert or about to fall off a cliff, she suddenly pulled out dental floss from her purse and was able to kind of lasso her way onto a branch and pull her way out of there. And Velma could actually, keep track of her glasses, and she had interests outside of just like finding clues. Like I think in What's Your Scooby Doo, I think they gave her like a plot line where she was actually in a robotics competition and like won, and that's why they ended up at one of their locations, because it was for like a robotics contest. And they were traveling for Shaggy's mini golf competition, or to visit Fred's cousin in France. It wasn't just about the mystery anymore, it was also about them as a group and kind of like giving them little nuances as characters and whatnot. So What's Your Scooby Doo is the one that I really grew up with, and I always liked that one the best because Daphne also stopped getting captured all the time, which was nice, and they gave Fred more to do than just like set the traps all the time. And they also gave like just Shaggy and Scooby just more to be than just hungry cowards. Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated was a more recent, I think it was like in the 2010s, definitely 2000s, I think around the 2010s, actually has like an overarching plot of the episode. So the episode to episode is pretty predictable what's happening, pretty predictable what happens in the mysteries, especially if you know the different mystery tropes and like narrative structure. But it actually has an overarching plot that has a callbacks to Twin Peaks in it, which was just wild. That's all I've got for you today, folks. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, and of course, happy writing.